Hello there guys, Aaron Chandler here for Forever Football, your Doncaster Rovers content. This is your match preview for Swindon Town. Sorry there wasn't a daily report yesterday, but we're going to include all the information that we were going to include in that video in today's preview. Talk about what's happening at the minute in the transfer market, as well as leading into previewing this game. But before we get started guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another video. Also guys, stay tuned for more videos. We've got some lovely content coming. We've got the Swindon Town watch along. That'll be coming. That'll be starting about 10 to 2 in the afternoon tomorrow, so stay tuned for the watch along. It was great last time. We had a Blackburn fan, we had a couple of other football fans, we had some Donny fans in there, so if you guys want to stay tuned and watch the watch along, 1:50 PM tomorrow afternoon, stay tuned because the watch along will begin 10 minutes before the team news is revealed. Now, let's get into, first of all, before we talk about some stories in the transfer market, we have to talk about the team. Now, obviously this is a different one and a bit of a difficult choice because, of course, Smith and Taylor, will they be back in this game? Whiteman's gone. Coppinger's out for a few weeks with a calf strain. Gomez is still injured. Is Smith and Taylor going to be back? If so, where are they going to be positioned? Well, this team is only if Smith and Taylor's coming back. So I've gone with pretty much a similar team to the Blackburn win. So Balcom's in goal. Joe Wright is at right back. Anderson, the new captain of the club. Congratulations to Captain Tom. Brilliant. Congratulations to Captain Tom Anderson, but also Captain Tom, as in Captain Tom, who's done the laps for raising money during lockdown. So massive well done to Captain Tom as well. And also, Reece James is at left back. So again, that's the first major change. The fact that Captain Tom is leading the line, but also Reece James is back in his usual position of left back. So yeah, I think that Reece James will go in there, and the reason why I think that is because Matt Smith will start in the midfield with Brad Halliday on the opposite side of the midfield. Then the attack is no different. Okunabiri and Simio's on the wings, Richards at camp, and John Jules up front. On the bench, Jones, Amos, John, Ravenhill, Taylor, Lakilo, and Williams. That is what I think we're going to do. If Smith and Taylor are not in the team, I think James will go in the midfield. I think John will be at left back. And on the bench, I believe we're going to see, replacing Smith and Taylor, Ravenhill and Blythe. I think that's the only options we've got, really, with everyone else being injured or out on loan. So I think that Liam Ravenhill and Ben Blythe will be on the bench if Smith and Taylor aren't ready to come back yet, but hopefully for Smith and Taylor's sake they are. I think Taylor will be on the bench to start off with and come on in the second half, and I think that Smith may start the match to give some more clarity in the midfield for actual positions, not just versatility in the midfield. So yeah, very different team, just a couple of changes depending if Smith and Taylor's coming back. If not, it will probably be the starting 11 that started against Blackburn in the FA Cup. This one's an interesting game. Of course, we'll go into reasons why sort of throughout the video. But of course, there have been some few developments sort of going into this particular preview. Obviously, Darren Moore coming out with the Free Press article saying that they won't pay actual transfer fees in this window. It will be free transfers or loan deals. There's been calls from Darren Moore, the fact that about contracts, the fact that they won't be signing too many contracts now and they'll be saving it till later. And there's been a lot of division in the fan base. Let's just put it that way. A lot of people in the fan base questioning the decisions, commenting on the decisions. I know a lot of people aren't, happy about the decisions. And to be fair, I've shared my thoughts on that. I did retweet about the contract situation, and I did say, well, if there wasn't a pandemic, then it would have been a better situation. Have to take this into account 100%, but I'd still not like to wait until it's too late to keep the players on new deals. This is starting to worry me a little bit. And someone actually replied to that and said, I'd love to know why it's not the best time to renew contracts. We literally just sold our best player and captain, and now we're basically claiming their skint. Effing clubs going down the pan, and I can't bear to watch. And I see where he's coming from. I can say this publicly. I don't want to say who replied to me, but I do want to say publicly, I see where he's coming from. We can't leave it too late. We made that mistake with Sadlier. He let the contract run down. He didn't sign a new one, and he moved on. We can't let contracts run down, especially for players like Taylor and Wright and Halliday and, you know, players like that are going to be going in the summer for free if we don't sign them up. Taylor and Lakilo have extensional year options. I think we'll probably do that this year to save money, and then we'll sort their contracts out properly next season. Seaman's coming back, so he's going to be another contract. So don't forget, we only signed him for a year and loaned him out for the season. So obviously he's been now allowed to stay at Maidstone for the rest of the season by the club. That was coming out from Kent Online today. So he's happy to stay in Maidstone for the rest of the season. He's been doing really well in the left wing position. He's slotted in at Maidstone. So again, it might be non-league opposition, but Seaman's a brilliant talent. So I can't wait to see him in a Rovers shirt next season. We'll probably extend his deal as well. But I think Taylor and Lakilo will be extended by a year, and then we'll sort their contracts out next season to ease the contract worries. Butler's signed his new deal as well. He's got the extension of another year. His contract runs out at the end of the season because we extended it for 6 months, so he'll get an extra year as well. So again, we'll extend Butler by another year probably as well. And it's weird, you know, I think a lot of people do blame the club for putting the money from the Whiteman sale towards keeping the club afloat. And you know what? I have to agree with the club on this one. I think it was needed to put into the club's bank account to keep the club afloat. Because I'd rather have a club rather than no club at all. So the sooner we get that sorted, the more we'll be able to invest in talent and more talent and keeping the talent. And, you know, we won't be this sort of sell-on club kind of thing. But I think a few years down the line, if we are in a better financial sort of situation, we don't have any financial problems at all, we can afford big talent, and we still end up leaving contracts on the table unassigned for our big stars, and they leave, and then the manager leaves, and we're left with a thin squad looking for a new manager again in League One or League Two, bear it or not, then we have to start looking at the board and say, well, hang on a second, you're not exactly being ambitious here, right? And then we'll start having problems. But I did reply to that first comment, that first reply, and say, to be honest, I don't like this, but I'm taking the pandemic and the EFL's mismanagement and the government's lack of help financially, and to be honest, we need to improve the situation soon. And he replied saying, the real question is how. I mean, we're pushing for promotion and we're going to end up needing a complete rebuild before next season if things don't improve. If we can't afford to renew contracts, we definitely won't be able to afford a rebuild. And again, I agree with that. If we can't afford new contracts, or we need to save money throughout the season for new contracts, because don't forget, the FA Cup money will keep coming in. So if we get past West Ham next weekend, we'll get more money in for round 5. If we get past Man United or Liverpool, depending on who goes through, and we get into the quarterfinals, again, that's more money coming through. So the further we progress in the FA Cup, and the more we chance of getting promoted, the more money we get into the club, and that'll help us in the summer to tie down the people on new contracts. So, unfortunately, we are one of those clubs that's got to wait. You know, I do believe we'll get the players on new contracts. It's just a case of waiting, to be honest, because the more money we get from promotion in the FA Cup, the more chance we've got of signing more of these players on new contracts. So, we've just got to wait a bit. But I did reply to that, and I said, yeah, true, if we are up, then the money from promotion and the FA Cup run will further help financially, like I just said. So I would get 1 or 2 contracts nailed in on the winter. I would probably get 1 or 2 contracts nailed now in the January window before February 1st. But it's hard without support. And my last statement in that comment, that reply, is what I say all the time. EFL and the government should be ashamed. They should absolutely 100% be ashamed. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that, you know, swears and say all these nasty names to people and things like that. But the actions by the EFL and the government financially to support these clubs have been disgraceful. And that's saying it in the most polite way possible and the most professional way possible. It is a disgrace. And we do need more support financially. You know, I think we need to have League One and League Two need to start having the opportunity to look for potential financial support helpers and investors to help bring more money into these clubs. And plus, for the EFL, it'll make them more money, which is good for them anyway. He did reply to that saying, I agree, mate. As for things off field, when all this goes away, I think we need to be recruiting higher profile sponsorship to our club, because if this period has shown us anything, it's that our current income via sponsors isn't enough to keep us at least near financially stable. I agree. We need more bigger sponsors. Not even just replacing the local ones, not even replacing the ones we've got. We need the local ones, but we also need bigger sponsors on top of that to give us more financial input. And again, I'll say this idea again, we need a Sky Sports League One and a Sky Sports League Two to give us the chance to, with the red button, to watch any of the games at the same time on that channel. The red button option for a Sky Sports League One and a Sky Sports League Two. Even a Sky Sports Championship would be great. You've got a Sky Sports Premier League channel, have a channel for the other 3 leagues, and have the red button option so you can watch any of the games. So all of them will be televised with its own commentary team. We've got plenty of English commentary teams and plenty of commentators in English football that are looking for work. Give them work. Give loads of young commentators a chance to commentate on these games. Incorporate the EFL iFollow into it, and even employ clubs' own commentary teams. I think our commentator's name's Robbie Andrews. Shout out to him, wonderful guy. Have him employed as Doncaster Rovers' official club commentator for the Sky Sports League One channel games. Have that option, because then it gives him a bigger paycheck as well. So have him represent Sky Sports League One for Doncaster Rovers games, as well as representing the club as a commentator. I mean, that'd be a wonderful thing. It'd be wonderful for him, and it'd be wonderful for the club financially as well. So again, that's another way we could do it. So I did reply to that, and I said, yeah, 100%. My thoughts on all of this, that the pandemic and the lack of mercy from the government and the EFL are facts in these decisions, but if the finances are better a few years later and there's still no proper backing in fees, then we start questioning the board. And that is my overall statement on the situation. And he said, I just see it as excuses until I see real ambition and intent to make this club bigger. So far I'm not convinced at all, but we'll wait and see what happens, I guess. And there has been a lot of sort of reaction to all of this. Everything that's been going on with the contract situation, with transfers, with different things like that. A lot of reaction. First of all, by the way, congratulations to Tom Anderson for being named captain. But there is a big sort of opinion here. Obviously, some people have reacted to Charlie Seaman staying at Maidstone to the end of the season. Somebody said on social media, so we're short of players, but have sent one player out on loan this month and extended it for the rest of the season. Something's not right here. And, you have to say, it does add up, but somebody replied to that and said, let's wait until February to judge the window and how much it sucks. No doubt DM will have something planned, maybe 1, maybe 2 free players, I reckon, and a loan. And I think even that's just extra bodies. But you know what? There's something I wanted to mention in this video, and it's something I sort of saw before we filmed this today. And, first of all, somebody else reacted to the contracts and said, what the F is happening at this club? We just received over 1.5 billion reportedly, and we can't offer contracts to players. Using the pandemic as an excuse because this happened year after year, we're embarrassing. And I can see where people are coming from. But this is the statement that made it for me, what I'm about to mention. So this came from a guy called Paul Goodwin. He's a journalist, a sports journalist on Twitter. And on Twitter, he said this is a particular section of the press conference. A section of Darren Moore's press conference yesterday really leaped out at Paul when he was asked about the congested fixture list. And this is the statement that Darren made in his press conference, something I wanted to share with you guys today while we were previewing the game. The squad is not big enough. We need more depth in the squad. We need to add more bodies to the squad because of all the fixtures. The one thing that is going to catch Doncaster Rovers is having the physicality to reproduce in a short space of time. I won't hide that away from people. I have to say that the support is for them to see the mammoth task ahead of us. So he's pretty much revealed to us publicly that he needs players. He needs signings. And Paul reacts to this by saying he's telling it like it is, undoubtedly tempering expectations. Could it also be interpreted as a plea for help in the window? Quite possibly. Let's see what materialises. Moore's worked wonders to get Doncaster Rovers into contention, but he's not a magician. And that's what I mean. Darren Moore is a managerial wizard, but he's not Paul Daniels. He can't pull a card out of a hat for some reason. He's not Dynamo. He's not Ben Hanlon. He's not Ben Hart from BGT. He's not an actual magician. He's just a manager. He just makes things work. And to be fair, that's the big thing I take from this whole thing. Darren Moore's done what he can by what he's got. It's now at a point where extra bodies are needed. And he's pretty much pleaded to the board. If he doesn't get at least one signing in this window, you've got to look at the board. You've got to look at the board. If he doesn't get one signing, and he doesn't get any player contracts sorted in the summer, and if he walks to a different club, we have every right as a fan base to say, what are you doing, boardroom? Why aren't you backing the manager? Why aren't you giving him a couple of free signings? You said you could do free transfers and loans. Give him a couple of frees, give him a couple of loans, just to give the extra bodies to the end of the season. And you know what? From there, let's go again in the summer if we get promoted to the Championship and rebuild as a club. Because let's point this out straight away. This is, if we get promoted to the Championship for next season, it'll be the first ever season in the Championship with the current ownership still in place. The Blunt, the Baldwin, the Henschel. We've had, in the past, we had John Ryan and the Watson family, who were fantastic for this club. They had a dare to dream ambition, and they produced and they went for it. It's just a shame it went pear-shaped with the amount of managers that we had. Sean O'Driscoll was amazing. When Dean Saunders came in, he was brilliant. You know, trying to getting us into the Championship, getting us to that stage. We had some terrible managers, though. We played terrible defensive football a couple of times. And Grant McCann, he got us up to a good stage, which is, you know, I'm not sure Donny fans want to mention that guy's name after saying he would never leave us and then going to Hull. But we have to look at the board now. We have to look at the board. If Darren Moore's pleaded to back him in the transfer window. They pleaded him to back him. If they don't, we are allowed as fans to ask questions about why, and they can't keep using COVID as an excuse. They've got to have more reasons than one. You can't just say, imagine if you get caught stealing a bike. Imagine if you're a kid and you get caught stealing a bike. And someone asks you, why have you stolen, why have you got this man's bike? It was reported stolen, why have you got that? And you sit there and say, I think the wheels look nice. You can't just steal a bike because the wheels look nice. You've got to have a reason. You think, oh, that's my mortal enemy, that's my bully, I'm going to bully him back. Then you get taught what's right and wrong. You can't bully people, and if you're being bullied, talk to someone. So it's that kind of situation, really. If Darren Moore's pleading to get transfers into the club, and you've got the owners saying, well, you know, we'll see. Because of COVID, we're pretty tough right now. You've got to have more reasons. You've got to say, well, you know, we've got this going on and this going on. We've got potentially this in the summer and potentially this in the long-term future. Outline your plans and outline your ambitions as a football club. Because if you've got the money now to keep the club afloat from the Ben Whiteman transfer and the stuff from Marquise's transfer as well, then you should be allowed to come out and say, these are our ambitions for the club. Because the later you leave it in terms of revealing your ambitions as a football club, then the more Darren Moore's going to walk, the more the first team squad are going to walk, and the more the fans are going to start ironing out those banners and protesting for the board to go and someone to take over that club. So prove the people wrong that doubt you. Prove the people wrong. Prove that you're going to back this manager. Bring in the right talent. Bring in the contracts. Bring in what you need to do with what you've got to work with. Do the best to back Darren Moore as much as you can. Don't just half-arse it, back him as much as possible. But there we go, guys. That's previewing the game, previewing what's been happening in the transfer market as well. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. I think Swindon are very underrated opponents. They can score when they want, they score when they want, they score when they want, but we're Donny Rovers, we score when we want. So we can score when we want as well. And I think we're going to look at a 2-0 win here. I think we're going to get something past them. Balcom's going to keep another clean sheet. Honestly, seeing him play against Blackburn reminded me of Senny Dieng in goal. Honestly, it was like Senny Dieng vibes. It was brilliant. But there we go, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this match preview. Like I said, 2-0 win for us, I think, against Swindon. Can't wait to watch it. Stay tuned for the match watch-along starting at 1:50 PM tomorrow. And for now, guys, I'm Aaron Chandler from Forever Football, and that, my friends, is full time.